And good morning. Welcome back to another edition of the Bakersfield Business Partners podcast. My name is Duncan Harris. I'm the owner of Insurance Savings Group and past president of Bakersfield Business Partners. We're a BNI chapter here in Bakersfield, California. And we meet every week, and we're trying to grow our members' businesses through referrals, but also through education and through relationships. And we undoubtedly have the best BNI chapter in Bakersfield, probably the state of California, and possibly the entire United States. So we started our own podcast to highlight our membership. And we've got Howard Drews with Alert Disaster Restoration here today. Good morning, Howard.
Good morning.
How you doing, man?
Fantastic. How are you doing?
Awesome. So for those of you that don't know you, just introduce yourself, say what you do and who you work for really quick.
My name is Howard Drews. I work for Alert Disaster Restoration. We do fire reconstruction. We do water mitigation and mold mitigation, plus a slew of other things.
Awesome. How long have you been with Alert?
3 years.
Very cool. So, we've got, I don't know a lot about what you do, honestly, and you've got some material there.
Right.
But in general, maybe we could just describe like something bad happens at your house, a flood, a fire.
I'm the one you hope you never need.
I know, crap. But yeah, I mean, tell us how that goes usually.
Well, we do respond to fires, and we do fire reconstruction. We're the only company in town that does everything from the board up, the muck out, clean your contents and get it back to you, then completely rebuild your home, hand you the keys back to your newly remodeled home.
It's like a one-stop shop, essentially,
Everything, yes.
If there's like an insurance claim or a fire disaster at the house.
Correct. One of the other things that we do is we take all the stress off your shoulders.
Sure.
We will do 100% of the negotiation with your insurance company. The only thing that the customer is required to do is they have to make their own claim. And I can help them with that. But other than that, we'll take care of everything from there on.
Now, do the homeowners, do they think to call you, or is it usually like an insurance agent that recommends you?
Actually, we have connected to part of the fire department, so we know when the fires are going off. And we show up and offer our assistance. Most people have never gone through a fire and they know they need to do something,
right?
But they got no idea what they're supposed to do and in what order.
So, I mean, let's say I wake up and there's a fire at my house, and I'm sure, God, I can't even process all what, I don't even know what the first thing I would do, but maybe it's 8 a.m. and, they put the flames out and stuff. And then are you guys there, or does you guys make a phone call?
We'll actually be on site, and I will help you with the fire department. I'll help you with the power company, because chances are they're going to pull your meter. Then they're going to red tag the house. It'll be unlivable at that point. Yeah. I'll also assist you in your additional living, which is part of your insurance policy. Is additional living expenses. It means you're going to put you up in a hotel. Well, even if you get a hold of your insurance company that day, they're not going to be able to generally get you into a hotel. So I'll spend up to first 4 nights for you.
Wow.
And then
you personally or Alert?
Well, it goes on my card, but Alert pays me back.
You're a very generous guy. Wow. Yeah. I love it. What about this? A question I usually ask like our members that come in is like, what advice would you give to your clients or to people in your area? Like, or maybe what mistakes do you see people making typically? Does that happen?
I would say the biggest mistakes that people make is not necessarily in the fire, because we just handle everything for them. The biggest mistake that I see is people don't check underneath their sinks. Or behind their closets.
This would be for like a flood, like water,
Correct.
leaking water.
Leaking water.
Yeah.
And in Bakersfield, with the weather conditions we have, it's perfect for mold. And if water runs any length of time, you're going to have a mold buildup. Now you've got a double problem. Not only do we have to stop the water leak, but we have to go ahead and tear out everything that the mold is on and reconstruct it for you.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about water and mold.
Sure. Waters, there's 3 different categories. There's category 1, category 2, and category 3. Category 1 is clean water. So in other words, it's an incoming water line. It could be a sink line. It could even be the line to your toilet breaks. That's all clean water. Now, that's all category 1. Category 2 is what we call gray water, which would be water that runs out of your toilet bowl, sewer water from your sink going down, that type of thing. And then, of course, the last one nobody wants is category 3, and that's where we have sewage.
Now, why is this important to know, or how does this determine what's going on?
The whole cleanup and that type of thing is completely different for each one.
For each category.
If you've got a category 3 that's flooded your house, Your walls are just like a big cotton ball, and they suck all that right up it. So you have to do what you call a 2-foot flood cut. So you cut the first 2 feet of the wall out,
Yeah.
and then that opens it up and lets it dry out, but it also gets rid of all that ugly contaminant that nobody wants to have left around.
And then, of course, the mold. Are there different kinds of mold? And
There
how
are
do you guys?
all different kinds of mold. There's really only a couple of molds that are unhealthy for you.
Okay.
But the way that we treat it is any type of mold, once it has penetrated wood or tile or that type of thing, it just has to be tore out and a new product
But
put
why,
in.
why is that? It seems maybe drastic to the uneducated person that we got to tear everything apart and tear the walls down and
Well,
shave.
that's if it's in the walls. Like
Yeah.
one of the houses that I went to this last week just had it on the grout around the tub, and it was surface mold.
Okay.
That you got two choices. I always tell them the first thing to do is take a spray bottle, put a couple caps full of bleach in it, spray it down and wipe it off. If it all comes off, great. If it doesn't, then you have to tear the grout out and regrout. But at least it's not coming up through the wall, coming out through your tile.
Yeah. And
That-
so, what happens if the mold's there in your house? I mean, what are there? What are
Lots
the
of
symptoms?
times we'll get to a house and we'll know that we have a water problem. We have an infrared camera and a moisture meter. We can see exactly how far up the walls it is, how far it's traveled. Water will go to the path of least resistance. Now, if it's like I tell everybody, I never know what we're going to find until we start tearing that floor up or tearing that wall up, whether we're going to have mold or not. Sometimes there's none at all. Other times it can be halfway up the wall or more.
Yeah. So you guys find a big mold issue, and is again on the flood and the mold. Does your team kind of handle everything from start to finish?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go in and depending on the age of the house, if it was built before 1981, before we can do any deconstruction, drill holes, or anything, we have to have a lead and asbestos test that's required by law. We bring a specialist in to perform that for us. Then if it's clear, we can go ahead and start the reconstruction or deconstruction.
Okay.
If it's not, then you have to call in an environmental company. There's only a few of them in the state, and they have to do the removal of those items out of the house, apartment, or whatever before it's safe for us to go in and do our job.
Is that pricey? Is that like a costly delay when you find that stuff?
It can be. The test itself runs $700-800,
Ouch.
and can go up over $1,000 if you got a big house that we have to test. It's a lot of different areas. Then the abatement part of it, whether it's lead or asbestos is the worst. Lead's not near as bad.
Yeah.
But it can run into the thousands of dollars just for them to do it. I had one house in Ridgecrest, it was $58,000 just to rid it from asbestos. By the time we got done, the whole house was gutted all the way down to the cement foundation.
I mean, it would be easier just to total the house. It seems like.
Well, it's all the framing's still good.
Yeah. Is there anything like new, different, or changing in your industry?
It's constantly changing. We just bought some new equipment that we can set in cabinets now that dry them out twice as fast as what they used to be. We used to have to remove the cabinets to dry behind them. We can now drill holes through them and set this equipment in and dry out cabinets, your bathroom commodes, that type of thing as well.
Nice. So less invasive.
Yes.
Very cool. And then what
Saves
about
more money too for the insured. It's a lot cheaper for us to dry it out in place than it is to have to pull it out and reset it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Okay, and then what about the crazy insurance market here we have in California? Insurance companies leaving and rates going up and people losing insurance. Is that affecting what you guys do?
Quite a bit. I'm seeing more and more of the people, if it's like under $10,000, they just pay it themselves because they know if they make a claim, they're going to get dropped. And now, if you get dropped, you're not going to find another carrier. You're probably going to end up with what we call the California Fair Plan.
Yeah.
That is the last resort for you to meet your mortgage obligations and have some insurance. Now, they'll write a very fair replacement plan on the house, but they give you very little contents coverage and very little additional living expenses on the California Fair Plan.
Oh boy.
So
You don't want to end up there, essentially.
no, because if you have a big fire, generally it's for us to get in and rebuild the house for you. It's 6 months after I have the building permit in hand, and it's going to take 2 to 3 months for me to get the building permit because I'm going to have engineered plans to submit to the county or the city to be approved. And there's no telling how long that's going to take. That's the one thing in the equation that I can't put a number on. I could be 2 weeks, could be 6 weeks, could be 8 weeks before I get the permit back.
And the whole time, the homeowner's just staying in a hotel waiting for this
Correct.
permit to get approved, essentially?
Yeah.
Oh, what a terrible problem.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Are certain insurance companies better or easier to deal with than others?
Very much so.
Or do they all suck?
No, very much so.
Okay.
USAA is probably one of the best ones out there as
Okay.
far as taking care of their insureds. They are remarkable. They're usually on the claim. You'll have an adjuster there within 3 to 4 days,
Wow.
and they actually will have a check to the insured generally within a week. They are by far the quickest and the best one out there.
Wow.
Now, the worst one I won't say.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Let me ask you this. What's the best part about your job, about what you do?
I think the best part that I do is being able to help somebody and guide them through the process. The thing that I see is I call it fire brain when I get there. A fire is the third most stressful thing you're ever going to do in your life. First one is the death of a spouse or close family member. Second one is a divorce. The third one is a fire.
Yeah, it's like starting over, essentially, huh?
I really feel for these people because I can rebuild the house for them, and that's not a problem. I've never seen one I can't rebuild, but I can't bring back that photograph book.
Mm-hmm.
I can't bring back your wedding pictures,
Yeah, gosh, that's tough.
or the heirlooms that have been passed down from family member to family member that are now gone. That's what's tough because you see their whole life gone in a matter of a few hours.
Oh, man. Well, before we kind of switch gears here, what else would you want people to know either about Alert or maybe just about, fire and water disasters?
Well, at Alert, we really care about our customers. We try to treat them like we would want to be treated, like family. And we stay in touch with them. I think the biggest thing with Alert is our communication. We let them know exactly where we're at all times and what to expect and what's coming. So we guide them through the process. It's pretty much the same process every time, but most people have never had a fire. And then unfortunately, when you have a big fire, it's, several $100,000s that you're dealing with the insurance company.
Crazy stuff. All right. Well, we're going to switch gears here. You've been a member of our networking group, Bakersfield Business Partners, or BNI chapter. How long have you been a member?
Probably a year.
Maybe a little longer.
A little longer.
A little longer? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
A year and a half maybe.
Well, tell us how it's going. You're one of our newer members then.
Right.
Tell us what your experience has been.
Super enjoy it. I mean, I'm different than a lot of people there. Some people I think have joined BNI just for the referral business.
Sure.
And believe me, there's a lot of that out there.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of referrals from BNI, but we have the relationships that we have. We're in the business of helping people. I carry 2 cards of everybody that's in BNI and got them together. So when I'm out talking to somebody and they say, gosh, my backyard's not draining. Well, I get the landscape guy,
Yeah.
and it's being able to help people that I enjoy. Plus the person that's doing our lead and asbestos now, I met through BNI as well too.
Awesome.
So, and then another one, I refer a ton of business to Will because we have a dollar value that it has to be greater than before we're going to get involved.
Will is our handyman. So
Will's
he
our
does
handyman.
Handyman project.
So anything that I have that's a small job that we don't want to do, I just immediately send over to Will. In fact, I got one to send him this morning.
Yeah, that's great. It's nice to be like that resource for your client, when they're in a time of stress or need, and you're like, hey, I know a guy. I know someone that can take care of this for you.
Well, a lot of times too, you can just see them get panicked when I say, well, this job's too small for it. It's not one that we're going to do. And it's kind of like, well, what do I do? And I said, don't worry. Here's Will's card. By the way, I'll get a hold of Will too.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, great. There's somebody that can fix it for me.
Well, that's great, man. Well, anything else you want to close out with before we kind of finish up?
No.
Well, thanks for coming in today.
You bet.
And you're the man. We love having you be a part of our group. Alert is a great company. They really do what they say in terms of just treating people as people. you know, and you guys seem like a very compassionate company.
We are.
And a good group. But thanks for being a part of our BNI chapter. If you're listening and you want to check out our chapter, we meet Tuesday mornings at 7:30. We're a group of professionals. And the idea behind BNI is that you educate the other members of the group, and that when they're out there conducting their daily business, they might, you know, pass you a referral when the opportunity arrives.
Sure.
But really, our group has grown and even thrived over the last couple of years. We're very close, and that's really through education and relationships. All of our members are extremely caring people, and they want to learn, and they're very growth minded. And we just have a really great group. So come check us out. But that's it. That's our podcast for today. This is Duncan signing out. And until then, we'll see you next time, Howard.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You bet.